Meteorologist Chris Haddings here once again. Give you the latest update on the expected winter storm across the area. This one could be serious, so show you I'm serious. Roll my sleeves up here, show off my guns. I don't really have any guns anyway. Start by taking a look at the watches, warnings, and advisories. The whole pink area, these are winter storm warnings, includes just about the whole northern 2/3 of the state, Yellowstone, Bighorn Basin, all the way down toward Riverton, Lander, Casper. I'll let you read those towns off, find yours on the map. And areas that could see some snow, not quite as much as the warned areas though. Tetons as well as the Salt Wyoming range. Also east of Rock Springs along I-80 winter weather advisory, so could be some travel problems there as well. Now as we time out the impacts across the area, it hasn't been too bad during the day today, but tonight we'll see that rain change over to snow as the colder air comes in from the north and west. Now in Natrona County, especially around the Casper area, you could stay a rain-snow mix for a lot of the night, so it might not be too bad in your area, but a lot of other areas will get bad as we lose the heating of the day, the sun comes down, and the snow starts sticking on the roads. It's also becoming windy. It's already getting windy here at the office, for example. But the biggest impacts, I think, Tuesday into Tuesday evening periods of snow, windy, blowing snow, difficult travel, a very good possibility. Wouldn't be surprised if there were some road closures as well. Now the worst conditions, especially Tuesday afternoon, probably in Natrona, Johnson, as well as Fremont counties. You may want to add eastern parts of Bighorn as well as Washakie County, especially when you get up in the Bighorn Mountains. You'll see why in just a couple of minutes. Now things should begin to improve from west to east after midnight on Tuesday night into Wednesday, the snow ending in that pattern. Now one of the models we look at, more reliable one, the European, does hang on to snow a little bit longer across eastern parts of our area, so could be some snow lingering, especially in Johnson County, I think, through Wednesday. But the heaviest should be over by the morning, and then all areas should be done, I think, by Wednesday afternoon, at least. Most areas done by Wednesday morning. And the wind gusts, not the strongest winds we've ever seen, but it could be some gusts, maybe to 30, 40 miles per hour, maybe a little stronger here across Sweetwater County. But with the snow, it is going to blow around quite a bit. We still have those leaves on that tree, so look at that as we look at the individual impacts. Cold temperatures, not going to be really cold here with this system. Lows are only going to be in the 20s, highs in the 30s, not the coldest we've seen. Could be some wind chill temperatures, but they'll be the least of our problems, I think. The road conditions, during the day, probably won't be too bad. We still have that decent sun angle. Also, ground temperatures are still fairly warm, so a lot of that snow might melt, especially on paved surfaces. But once the sun goes down, especially after about 7 or 8 o'clock, that's going to turn high, especially where the snow becomes heavy. There probably will be snow-covered roads out there and also icy spots. Now, power outages. Still have some leaves on the trees. The rule of thumb there is if the leaves are falling off your trees, it probably won't be too bad with that. But if you still have leaves on your trees, and especially if they're still green, that could pose a problem, so I'll put the impact there at medium, but it's really going to depend on your locale. I can't get into every single spot there because the video would take 30 minutes. You don't want to listen to me talk for that long, obviously. So timing out the maximum impacts, areas west of the divide pretty much through tonight or the first part of tomorrow. Areas east of the divide, especially I'd say Bighorn Basin down through, say, Fremont County. Maximum impacts late tonight through about Tuesday, then improving after sunset. And the longest to improve are going to be places like Casper, Buffalo, the furthest east in our area. Now notice I have Buffalo in the red here. That's probably going to be the maximum impacted area for our region. And you'll see why in a minute. Now take these with a grain of salt. Now I want to emphasize these 2 points. I did it yesterday. Focus on this again. Focus on the impacts, not the total amount of snowfall. It's going to be windy. A lot of the snow might melt on contact. And for that reason, the total accumulation we have in these grids is not what you're going to see on the ground at one time. A lot of this might melt on contact. It's a wet snow, it might compress as well. So don't get too alarmed when you see this, but this could be a substantial storm. Show you some probabilities of what's going to happen. So we can expect at least this much snow across most of the area. Hardest hit areas, Cody, across the Bighorn, the Wind River Basin, I should say. Anywhere from 3 to 6 inches. Higher amounts, obviously, when you get down here toward Lander. At least 3 inches in Casper. Now look up here around Buffalo. Now this will probably be at the airport, the 12 inches, not in town. Maybe a little bit less there, but at this point it looks like Johnson County will be the hardest hit out of this storm. Now, hold on. This is probably the likely worst case scenario. Now don't be alarmed when you see this. There's only a small chance of this happening, but I figure just to prepare, I'll show it to you. Here's some pretty big numbers here. You can see maybe up to 15 inches in Cody. Again, worst case scenario. Anywhere from about 8 to 12 inches, anywhere from Casper over toward Riverton, up here toward the Dubois area. Areas to the west, not really a ton of snow out here, anywhere from about 2 to 5 inches, maybe locally up to a foot in portions of Yellowstone. But again, what's drawing your attention? Johnson County. Again, some places maybe over 2 feet. Buffalo, 27 inches. I want to emphasize that's going to be at the airport, not in town. There probably will be less there, but there is a good potential there of seeing a foot of snow, maybe a little bit more, so watch out for that. The worst time there, probably I'd say from about late tonight through much of Tuesday. And this is our official forecast for what we think is going to happen. Highest amounts, Sheridan down to Buffalo, 12 to 18 inches, what we have in there. Very good chance of seeing anywhere from, say, 6 to 12 inches Casper over here toward Lander. Also the east side of, the west side of the Bighorn Basin, I should say. As the low develops, we're going to get east and northeasterly winds, so it's going to upslope against the Bighorn Mountains as well as the Absarokas here. And then downslope over in here. So Grayville, probably not that much, but Cody, also Lander up against the Wind Rivers could do really well out of this. Thermopolis as well, upsloping against the Owl Creeks. And areas west of the Divide, not going to be as impactful. Anywhere from about 2 to 4 inches across Sweetwater County. The least amount, probably across here, across the Bighorn Basin. And even in the valleys out here, Jackson really isn't going to see much out of this at all. And here's our resources. You can see for weather, weather.gov/RIW. Want road conditions? I'll say this again. Don't call us for road conditions. We don't have any insider information. These are the places to go. On the web, ylroad.info. It's a great site to see if the roads are closed. You want to call them on the phone? If you're in state, 511. Out of state, 188 YL Road. You want to take a look at those webcams for yourself. We have them from all over the state, not just our area. Go to our website, go to the local programs tab, and click on our webcams by route. Be safe, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.